This year, Be Clever Your Cash turned 10. So most months I've been sharing with you some of my top 10 money saving hacks to help you get the most from your money. And this month I want to talk to you about supermarkets because we all spend money there. And with all the food inflation prices over the last couple of years, we've been spending way more money than we used to. So anything to help bring down those prices is going to help, right? So where do we start? Number one, this is a biggie, right? I did cover this in my first kind of top 10 hacks for the year across everything, but I'm going to mention it again now because it's such a good one, because you will save money every time you go to the supermarket. And this is about how you pay. Now, you could, of course, pay with cash or just with your normal debit or credit card if you want to. But there are ways that every time you spend, you are getting money back. And you might be assuming here I'm going to talk about cashback cards because I'm a big fan of cashback cards, and you can easily get 1% back on all your shopping. And it's certainly worth having this with you as a simple way to spend. In fact, some supermarkets even have their own credit cards which give you more back. Primarily here we're talking about the John Lewis and Waitrose credit card. We get 1.25% back for spending in that store, which is great, right? But you can get more than this with most, if not all, of the supermarkets. And this is by buying a gift card, which is discounted or earns cash back as well. Now, normally, I would urge caution about using these cards on your everyday spending, because if there's a problem with what you buy with a gift card, the refund is going to come back to the gift card. And let's face it, with most shops, we're not going back there on a regular basis, particularly when you're talking about your big white goods and stuff, your curries or whatever. But a supermarket, we're always going to be spending money at the supermarket. And we're always going to be able to go back and spend something. So if you do have a gift card and you use it for your spending, particularly if it's online, let's say something doesn't come through, the substitution you don't want, so the bill is a little bit less, that money will come back to the gift card. But then you can use it again for the next shop. So that's never going to be a problem. You're never going to risk losing your money. So how do you go about buying these gift cards? How much can you save? Well, the rates will vary, but I would imagine it's easy to get between 2 and 6%. I've seen those rates depending on the supermarket, depending on the time of year, because they do change. Now, the places to get them, there are a few places. There are some apps which specifically will let you buy these gift cards, and sometimes instantaneously. I've done it before where I've been at the checkout. I know what my total is. I put in how much I want to buy to the penny and purchased that, and it's come through on the card and I've spent it. Some of them might take a little bit longer, so you might actually want to do it in advance and have it rounded up and just use it on repeat journeys to the supermarket. But the big ones here are Jam Donut, Cheddar, Hyperjar. Top Cashback has a section called Top Gift Cards, but there are a number of them doing now. This is a growing area, people thinking this is a way to get customers coming to us using us. Again, we've covered them in more detail over on becleverwithyourcash.com because there are pros and cons to each of them. Some of them might require you to earn a certain amount of cash back before you can take the money out and other things like that. But broadly speaking, it's a great way of doing it, a great way because you're always going to the supermarket, always spending money, of saving this every time you shop. And that really, really, really will add up. You can also get this cash back, these gift cards, if for your cash back from the likes of Quidco and Top Cashback that you're earning anyway, rather than changing it for a bank transfer, you can instead move it into a gift card, and again that will be sent through to you and you spend it in the same way. If they are digital, I tend to use the Stocard app to add them to my phone, so I've always got them on me, but again sometimes you can actually put them within the apps and things like that. Lots of ways around it. You can spend as you want. What is also little tiny sub hack within this, by the way, if you are shopping at Waitrose, do have a look to see whether you can get a higher rate of cash back on these gift cards if you buy a John Lewis one. It will work in exactly the same way, but more often than not, you get more for some reason if you buy it as branded John Lewis rather than branded as Waitrose. But again, I know that's not going to be too many of you, but it's certainly one to think about. Okay, that's my number one, why I want to share it at the top. A few other quick ones here to help you also bring the price down. Now, one of the biggest reasons we waste money when we're at the supermarket is we buy things we don't need. And we buy things we don't need, then they often go off, don't get used, things like that, go in the bin. Not great. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, I'm not going to go through those sort of simple basics here because I'm sure most of you know these. Making a list, meal planning, all that kind of stuff is really, really important and it will save you money. My hack though, if you haven't got time for that, before you go out to the supermarket, open up the fridge, get out your phone, take a photo of the contents in the fridge, open up the cupboard, take a photo as well, so you can see what is there. So when you're there, you're walking around going, do we need milk? Have we got this? Have we got that? You're not buying another one when you've got a full pint in the fridge. You're not buying more tomatoes when you've got loads of tomatoes, or whatever it might be. You understand what there is. Also might help you think, well, what am I going to cook tonight? What's going to work for me? Well, all right, look, I've got some chicken in the fridge. I'll use that again, rather than letting that be going to waste. Now, again, a sub hack of this, I'm not going to talk about in too much detail here, but of course, don't forget, you can freeze items to stop them going to waste. But there's two things here: avoiding food waste, making that list, taking a photo is the hack here, but putting stuff in the freezer so it doesn't go off if you have overbought it, again, will really save you a huge amount of cash. Now, let's talk about finding the best price when you are in the supermarket for hack number 3. There is a website that will let you do this. This is called Trolley. This is a comparison site. So actually, if you're not sure which supermarket to go to, you often pop between 2 or 3 because you can. They're all near you. I wouldn't be going out of my way to go to a particular supermarket if I didn't have to. But Trolley, you can put in the item you want and it will tell you where it is cheaper. Also has a handy feature where you can look at the price history, so you can see if the item right now is actually a good price or not. And okay, it's not as good as the predecessor to this, which used to be called My Supermarket. Sadly, they closed that down a few years ago. But it was always quite handy when you're looking at things to go, is this really actually an offer or not? I know we're talking about a small amount of money often, but it's a useful thing to have. And you can see a limited amount of price history with Trolley as well. You have it as an app or go to the website. But that is a really good hack, again, to find out which place might have that thing for less. And potentially you can put your whole basket in there and decide which supermarket to go to. Now, let's say you're at the supermarket, or it could be online as well. A little hack here is to help you find the same product for less within those same aisles. And this is to go to the world food aisle or potentially the baby aisle when it comes to cosmetics, because you often find here products which around the corner are much, much more expensive. So the world food aisle, you will find things like tinned tomatoes and herbs and spices and all sorts of things, often at a lower price. Now, not all the supermarkets will have this, particularly the smaller ones, but the big ones, they absolutely will have this. And it's well worth having a look. You're basically getting the same thing. Maybe it's bigger bags, but again, if you're going to use the stuff up, well worth a look. And when it does come to things like toiletries and cosmetics, for some reason, the baby stuff, things like cotton wool, again, can be cheaper. And it's just around the corner on the next aisle along. Well worth having a look because you will be able to find cheaper things. Now, online, this is easier to do, but sometimes it's still harder to compare things, isn't it? When you're looking at two things that are the same, whether it's between the world food aisle and the normal aisle, or whether they're just on the same shelf next to each other. And this brings on to my next hack, hack number 5. This is around price per unit. I love this one. And I think this makes a big, big difference if you're trying to save money and you're choosing with two things that do look similar. On the label shelf, you will see price, below the big price, a small price slash something. And it might be per 100 grams, it might be per item, it might be per milliliters, whatever it might be, okay? And this is how you can tell the difference between two items that look identical. So if but different sizes, effectively, that's how you're comparing different sizes, because that will give you an indication of what actually is the lowest price you're paying. Now, online, often they're on there as well, and you can check them. Now, this isn't perfect, and it's quite frustrating in lots of ways. One of the ways it's not perfect is because they don't always take into account special offers. So it might give you the normal price, but not actually what it is with the discount in play, which is a really annoying one. But worse than that is sometimes they won't compare like for like. So sometimes you might get the price per 100 grams for, let's say, loose potatoes, but then you might get the price for a pack of 4 jacket potatoes price per unit. So you've got 4 loose potatoes, a pack of 4 jacket potatoes, the price per units cannot compare. So that is a bit annoying. And you will find this all over the supermarket, but it is particularly bad, I think, within the fruit and veg aisle. If you want, I've got a sub hack I can share with you, which can help you again here. And this is because you've got those scales there. If you want to, you could put that pack of 4 jacket potatoes on the scales and it will tell you how much that costs. And you could put 4 normal jacket potatoes on the scales and it'll tell you how much that cost. And often, though not always, the loose item is going to be cheaper. Again, you've got to take into account there be some packaging, weight of the packaging on the pre-packed stuff. But again, it's a little hack that will help you again. Make sure you are getting the best value for money you possibly can. Also on the shelves, on those labels, next hack number 6 is another really useful thing to look at. And this is around when special offers are going to end. Sometimes they're quite explicit about it, but often it's not that clear. And this could be important because maybe you don't want to buy something there and then, particularly if it's something that is a bit more perishable, has a shorter term date, but it's something that's going to save you a lot of money. And the risk, obviously, if you stock up on perishable stuff, bulk buy it early on, you don't use it, and we go back to that problem I said earlier on, where stuff goes out of date and expires and you can't use it later on. So what's handy to know is when that offer ends, so you know if you've got time to buy it now and come back and get it at a later date before it does finish. And if you look at the label, more often than not, when there is a special offer, there will be a sort of 6 digits, which if you examine them closely, sometimes it's 4 digits, but if you examine it closely, it is the date in reverse order. Now, often that means it's year, then month, then day, but sometimes it could be completely mirrored across. But so, for example, let's say it said 24, 12, 14. That would be the offer ends on the 14th of December, 2024. Again, small amount of times, but if you know this stuff, it takes a second just to have a look at it. If that does help your buying decision on those things which are special offers, then that is a really useful hack to have. Okay, let's jump on now to a specific store one. I've got a couple of these, but this is a Tesco specific hack. So if you do shop at Tesco regularly, I think this is a really, really good money saver. Could well be worth a huge amount of cash across the year, potentially £40 a month, although you have to be a big spender to make that full £40 a month. Now, this is called Tesco Clubcard Extra. Now, it has the name Clubcard in it, but it is completely separate to the everyday loyalty scheme. It's a separate thing you have to sign up to, and it will cost you £7.90 a month, £7.99 a month. Okay, you've got to pay this every month. There is a free trial to give it a go, first of all, but you have to pay this every single month. Now, in return, there are a number of different perks that come with it. Most of them are rubbish. They might be relevant to you, like 10% off the clothing and things like that, but most of the time they're irrelevant. But the one that does make a difference for Tesco shoppers is 10% off 2 big shops in store, not online, in store every month. Now, the maximum size of that shop can be £200. So potentially you can get 10% back on 2 £200 shops. So that's where that £40 a month potentially comes into play. Now, you can choose which times you use the offer as well. So if you go in and you're just buying a pack of eggs or whatever it might be, don't worry, it's not going to automatically come off that. You say, I want to use my 10% off this time. And that, again, could be a huge amount. In fact, to break even, just to cover that £7.99 every single month, all you need to do is spend £79.90 on 1 or 2 shops. Okay, as long as you do that, you're broken even. Anything more than that, above £80 spend every month, you are getting 10% off your shopping, which is going to be better than that paying with the gift cards that I mentioned before, better than any of the other options you've got out there. So really, really, really worth taking advantage of this. And of course, if you are really, really big Tesco shoppers, I think this is going to be quite extreme, but if you are, of course, you could double this up and 2 people in the household could have their own memberships. But that's a lot, you know, to be really making a difference there, but it's certainly something to consider. And that does bring me on to hack number 8 for saving money at the supermarket. And this is about both sharing and splitting loyalty cards. So sometimes you want to have one loyalty card between the whole family. There can be advantages there because it helps you get to points system totals on a much faster basis. It helps you take advantage of extra offers and deals that come along. So one card between you can be great. But sometimes it's better to have your own ones, your own individual ones. So a good example here are the extra coupons and the vouchers that come along. So Waitrose, for example, every week you get 2 vouchers of products that you buy on a regular basis. They might be worth 50p or £1. But again, as a household, you're doubling up what you can get there. Likewise, when offers come along, Nectar and Clubcard often have these extra points you can earn, these challenges that come along. Again, if you've got your own ones, that means you've got your own points that you can earn. Now, of course, sometimes if they require a certain threshold, you don't want to be doing them separately. You want to focus on one to maximize the number of points you earn to hit those targets, to get those freebies. But it's certainly worth having a look across all those schemes for the supermarkets you shop at. Have your own ones, but also on your phones, have access to the other person's ones. You can choose which one you're going to scan each time. Now let's move on to another one here, which is a really good one specific to a store. This is for Waitrose. Now, when I started doing this 10 years ago, So it was either in 2013 or maybe in the first year of doing it, 2014. I can't remember. But the first time I did anything that kind of went crazy, it went viral at the time with this video I did. I did it as a joke, right? But this was when Waitrose started introducing a charge for its free tea and coffees. Before that, basically, you could go in as a Waitrose, swipe your card and get a free one. But they changed the rules 10 or so years ago that you had to make a purchase in store. Any purchase, no minimum spend. So for a laugh, I thought, right, I went down to my local Waitrose and I thought, I'll see what you could do. What's the cheapest item I could possibly find in a Waitrose store? Now, this walked around, I thought, oh, is it going to be like a 10p chocolate bar? Remember, this was 10 years ago now. You could still get things for 10p. Wasn't that, kept going. Obviously, it's fruit and veg. That was really where you're going to find the small things, the loose things. And what I was able to do was I found a button mushroom, a single button mushroom that I could weigh, and that came out as 1p. So effectively, I was able to spend 1p to get a free hot drink from Waitrose. Now, again, that's a bit of a joke. I wouldn't be doing that. But it just shows you that if you are someone who regularly buys hot drinks, and again, yeah, it's not going to be the fanciest one. It's comes from a machine, right? But if you regularly buy hot drinks, then this My Waitrose offer, you have to have the loyalty scheme, is a really, really good option because you can buy something very cheap. Again, I wouldn't go for the 1p button mushroom. With inflation, maybe it's 2p now, who knows? But certainly I'd be looking at, well, what actually would I buy anyway? Would I eat a banana? A banana's going to cost, what, 15, 16p? To be fair, I haven't weighed a single banana for a while now, maybe a bit more. But broadly speaking, that is a great way to get something you're going to eat and also get you the free drink. Or if you're someone who, let's say every morning you go out and you buy a hot drink and a pastry on your way to the office, whatever it might be. Well, if there's a Waitrose around the corner, you can buy a pastry from them, which will be cheaper than the pastry you're going to get from your Pret or your Cafe Nero, any of those kind of places. And you get your drink, and it's not going to cost you much at all. So that's a good hack there for anyone with a Waitrose near you. You do have to get the My Waitrose card in order to take advantage of this. But it will save you a lot of money on those teas and coffees if you do this once a day. Again, potentially, if you have more than one loyalty card, that's more than one hot drink as well, isn't it? And the last one to share with you, number 10, is still supermarket based, but moving slightly into pharmacies as well. But it's a big, big, big money saver. A really important one for everyone, particularly recording this time of year when everyone's going down with different bugs, is when you buy meds from the supermarket or the pharmacy. And it's very easy, very tempting to go for the big name brands, your Lemsip, your Berocca, your Nurofen, right? Because these names, you think, I want to get better. I'm going to pay more money on the thing that's going to make me better faster. In truth, there's going to be very, very little difference between that and the own brand ones from the supermarkets and the pharmacies. I mean, this is true. You go know this hack anyway, saving money by moving down to own brand across the whole supermarket. But you know that's not a hack. But I do think it's something that people don't always realise when it comes to medications. Have a look at the packet for the active ingredients, and you will find for most of these things, they are almost identical, if not identical. And you'll be saving yourself a lot of money by doing this. But this gets even better. Now, I'm not saying you're actually going to be doing this because you're not at the time, are you? But you will find on the packaging for a lot of this stuff something called a PL. It's a product license. Next to it, some digits, some numbers. This is the PL number. That tells you what is inside the packaging. Basically, what factory has made it. And so often with these things, particularly the different own brand ones, but equally some of the big name brands as well, you will find the exact same PL number on these products, which means it is the exact same item, the exact same paracetamol, the exact same ibuprofen, the exact same effervescent vitamin C tablet, whatever it is you're buying, but for different prices. So it's worth having a look at that. If you really still aren't convinced about own brand versus big name, have a look. If the PL number is the same, you will save money. And even between the same brands, sometimes you get you often get this with painkillers. This one is for back pain and this one's for period pain. Exactly the same PL number. They are exactly the same product. There is no difference, but the price could be different. So again, it will save you some cash. There you go. They are my top 10 ways to save money at the supermarket. You can check out all the previous top 10s throughout the year over at becleveryourcash.com on the YouTube channel and on the podcast. My name's Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these videos here for more ways to make the most of your money.